He asked me to do it for his boss.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to have all of you here. Welcome to Internet Society at ICANN 49 meeting. We're gonna start from Ted Money, and before that, I'll like to say welcome to two of the Board of Trustees who are here, Rudy and Teresa Swinehart. So thank you very much for coming. So we have a good inclusive presence here. You can see a lot of faces that know me and I know them. So feel free and ask questions when we go to the discussion topic. So Ted, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Naveed. It is always a true pleasure to see all of the people here who come and contribute to this meeting. And I want to emphasize the fact that this is a meeting for you, for our members and our chapters to express their ideas and to connect with each other on the issues that are important to all of us. It is also an opportunity to be in a place where there is a strong regional presence here in Asia. What I'd like to do now is introduce the president of the Singapore chapter, Harish Pillai, to give us some words of welcome to Singapore. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Firstly, it's amazing to see so many people come here to my home country. So welcome to Singapore. And I'm reminded that in 1999, the ICANN #1 was held in Singapore in this same building as well. So it's nice to see ICANN 49 happening in this same building as well. So, and that's exciting from my point of view. So, and welcome again to all of you. The Singapore chapter is fairly new. We are only about 3 years old. We have about 25 members. And what we've been trying in the last couple of years, or maybe the last 3 years, is to organize events to encourage an understanding of what else the internet can provide. Part of the problem, if you want to call it a problem, is that internet access is cheap in Singapore, as you probably already know. It's not a problem, yeah. So it's $40 US for a 1 gigabit to your home. So I know it's hardship, but what can we say? But having said that, I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to encourage the use of, I mean, personally, my interest is in getting a lot of IPv6 happening. So that's one of those areas that we like to see what we can do with that, encouraging the ISPs to provide that kind of service. And so I'm very excited to have that movie. And certainly there's a lot of other areas that we want to look at from a governance perspective, from the recent announcements of IANA and all that. I think that's very exciting. And what can we do as internet society within this country, in Singapore for that matter, to educate our own people to see what else you can achieve out of that. So with that, I'd like to say thank you and welcome to Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Harish. So we have our new CEO present in this room, Kathy Brown. So I'll now request her to please say some opening remarks and introduce the topics.
Good thing I have Rudy here. You know? I'm very lucky to have Rudy as a member of my board, as I am Teresa. I don't know where she is, but Keith's here and Desiree is here. We have an amazing board at ISOC, and it has been a wonderful pleasure to get to know them, to get to know the staff of ISOC, which is just brilliant, and now finally to see all you face to face, which is a great thrill for me. I've seen and met some of you on the lists, And I do read, by the way. You don't see me all the time, but I try to keep up with what's happening and keep my ear to, well, I guess it's the digital ground, right? Because I'm listening online. And get a lot of feedback and thoughts from you all. And I know you all come to the table with much experience in your own homes, in your own communities, and that you bring to the table a real global view. When we put it all together and we hear all those voices together, we understand how powerful the internet is. We also understand some of the issues around access, some of the issues now as the internet matures in part of the world, as the internet is still starting in other parts of the world, and trying really to, as one society, have a voice in influencing the enduring power of the internet. I'm thrilled to be in this job. I think it's a great privilege for me to be able to be part of all of you. I think we have lots to do. We're trying at the Internet Society to focus our efforts. There are only really 90 staff, but times 100 chapters and all of the folks who are in those chapters, times the members, times the organizations, we are quite a network of networks ourselves. And together we can do things that need to be done, say things that need to be done in a world that's moving very quickly, where lots of changes are happening, even this week, right? You walked in with a brand new change. How do we deal with change as it comes very quick in this internet age? Part of it is our ability to communicate with each other. I know Ted is working on, and I'm delighted, a new, what I call collaboration platform. We all like our email, but some of the new tools allow us to actually talk to each other at the same time, to collaborate, to come up with sort of group kinds of approaches to things. And I'm really looking forward to launching this platform so we can see if we can use it together. A couple of priorities of ISOC, and then I'll turn it over to have the policy discussion. This year, we, together with the board of ISOC, really thought that it's best, given the resources we have, to try to focus on a couple of areas more intensely. One, of course, is the whole internet governance debate that's going on, both generally across the world. A lot of debate now around how and what and who should be involved in the ongoing building, changing, governing of the internet in all its different ways. There are some very big international meetings that are going to be held this year that we feel that we need to understand the points of view of folks who will be there, and that we need to bring our own point of view to the table. The whole globalization of the IANA functions we knew was sort of brewing out there, and we needed to keep our eye on this, understand it, and understand where and how we together ought to have a voice in that. The whole IGF movement, that is a bottom-up movement of people who can gather together to deliberate, to think together, to have a voice together, we think we should go on and support that. So that's sort of one big group of issues that I call the sort of governance issues. The second issue really goes to the security of the internet itself. This pervasive monitoring that we learned of this year, very disturbing to all of us. Because we do understand the need for security, but we also understand the need for personal security and personal privacy. And to have that conversation, to understand how the internet itself as a technology can be strengthened, we took that as our second priority to look at this year. And the third is always about capacity building. How can we continue to evolve the internet, and how, where it is not yet fully deployed, we can be involved in the capacity building. This is a traditional role that ISOC has played over the years, and we should and will continue to play it. In all of these three priorities, we would hope to enlist each other, all of you with us with you, to see if we can pursue the principles we believe in to ensure that we have an open, strong, secure, and trusted internet. So that's what we're about. I'm very much looking forward to hearing the discussion here. I hope to get to know more of you personally. I hope to be involved in discussions with you, and I hope together we will make the internet stronger. So thank you for your warm welcome, and I'll turn the mic back over. Thank you, Naveed.
Thank you, Kathy. Now we'll move on to the discussion topics. So we have two discussion topics, as you can see on the screen. These topics were chosen by the chapter leaders themselves. So following the participant-led model, we actually had three topics on the list, and we asked the chapter leaders to vote for them. And these were the two main voted topics which we have selected for this meeting. After these topics, if we have time, we'll try to bring up some other topic of interest raised by you. Those participants who don't have a microphone, we do have two microphones on these sides of the room. So please feel free, although the room seems to accompany our speech without microphone as well, I hope so. So moving on, I'll now pass the microphone to Marcus Kumar to lead the discussions on these two topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveed, and thank you, Kathy, for the introduction. And it's great to see you all here. I see many, I'm tempted to say many comrades in arms of past battles of internet governance issues through the World Summit on Information Society and beyond. The topics you have chosen shows that we are very much in sync with the priorities chosen by the board. These are two of the three priorities mentioned by Kathy. My suggestion would be maybe to reverse the order. I mean, they are all closely linked, and surveillance and privacy is an important issue. The topics were chosen, of course, before the announcement by the NTIA about the IANA globalization. On privacy and surveillance, we had very clear and very strong statements supported by the board that we really don't like it. We think it is undermining the trust in the internet, and we have to rebuild this trust. Now, the announcement by the NTIA about the globalization of the IANA function and the transfer of the stewardship function to the internet community is a very positive step. We have welcomed this step, and it is, I think, we all think, a step in the right direction to regain the trust. As always, the devil is in the detail on how to move forward. I mean, we agree on the broad principle. We already have started the discussions, and I don't know how many of you assisted the panel Kathy was on with the CCNSO, which I thought was very informative, which showed many of the distant aspects and the fact of replacing a very powerful government, whatever the role was it played, with a multi-stakeholder framework is maybe not as simple as some people think. We think the IANA functions work very fine, and for us, we don't have a roadmap on how to move forward, but we do have clear principles, and maintaining the stability, security, and openness of the internet is our primary concern. Obviously, we're interested in listening. We also understand there may be a lot of explaining to do, how actually the technicalities of it work, how many people know exactly what the IANA functions are, the protocol parameters, the numbering and the addressing. There are three parts of it. So there's a lot of explaining that needs to be done. But there's also a need to listen what stakeholders have to say. And we are here to listen. We have already set up a dedicated list. We seek for input. We we are soliciting opinions from our community. As I said, we don't have a set opinion yet, apart from the fact that we want to maintain the security, stability, and openness of the internet. This is, for us, of primary importance. Is Jari still in the room? He is. We have lucky to have the chairman of the IETF in the room, so I would like ask Jari to go to the microphone and give us his perspective on how we should move forward.
Here. Thank you. No, I think this is probably good. So the IANA thing, I think this is exciting times. I think we all are fortunate to be sort of witnessing this happening. It's I think it's pretty historic and it's big. And as Marcus noted, there's different parts of IANA. There's essentially the names, addresses, and protocol parameters, and different people care about the different parts in different ways. So we at the IETF, of course, care quite a lot about the protocol numbers, such as port number allocations, port 80, HTTP, and so forth. While this the NTIA announcement is pretty historic, it's still part of evolution that has been going for a long time, and this is very important to understand. It's not necessarily so visible to people out there in the world. It's more visible to us who've been right in the middle of it every day. So just looking at the last 15 years that we've been at this, we've seen the creation of agreements between ICANN and IETF on the protocol parameters. We've seen the definition of roles in various RFCs. We've seen the process develop. We've seen the assignment of groups to track this relationship, that we have accountability. If something is going wrong, then we know what to do. And of course, thousands of RFCs that actually specify the rules on how you allocate particular protocol numbers. So the roles of IETF here has this role of setting the rules that or the policies on this is how we allocate these types of protocol numbers under these conditions. IANA then does the actual database maintenance that these numbers have been allocated, and then IAB, the Internet Architecture Board, tracks the situation, makes sure that everything's running smoothly, and updates the definitions and agreements where necessary. So this has been going on for quite some time, and every year we make quite a lot new things. And this year, one of the things that we're doing is launching this audit approach, where we actually audit the results of the INS operations on protocol parameters, make that audit public at the end of the year, providing some transparency on what has been going on. They actually follow the policy which they have. So those kinds of small improvements are happening all the time, and we see this, the NTIA announcement as an opportunity to improve further, and it's a good thing. I think it's supported by the community's view, at least the IAB and community input seems to say that the technical communities can together handle these tasks, and there's no need for external parties. So it's a good thing, but it's a part of the evolution, not a huge revolution. It's evolution, not revolution. No, there's no drama. So looking forward to completing that.
Thank you for that, Jari. And well, we all know the internet works. So that's, I think, the proof that it is actually handled well. Also, I did mention you all received an invitation to subscribe to this mailing list we set up, and I would like recognize Konstantinos. Where is he? Maybe stand up so people can see him. He will be driving this effort, so please feel encouraged to submit your ideas, your thoughts to this list. We are here to listen to you, to listen to the community, and we think ISOC has a role to play. We feel very strongly that we have a responsibility as the institutional home of the IETF to make sure that we get this right. This is really a momentous occasion. One should be careful with using big words, but I think it is a historical moment, a moment we have been waiting for many years. It has been announced. It's not a surprise, but we have been waiting for the announcement of the US government to be able to step back. And in the internet governance discussions of people who have been part of this, looking to Veni, for instance, we remember back in Geneva more than 10 years ago, there was always the complaint, why is the US government there and having a dominant role? Now the US government is offering to withdraw and offering to pass on its role to the multi-stakeholder community. So there is a responsibility that we really get it right. Otherwise, the backlash will be, it goes back to governments, intergovernmental organizations. Although in the announcement of the NTA, this is clearly a condition that the US is not ready to give it to other governments or intergovernmental organizations. But if we don't get it right, the pressure would increase. And with that, I would like to invite for comments, suggestions, ideas.
Sorry, Marcus. Just shown you the mailing list address. So those who don't know that, you can probably at this point in time write this mailing list and subscribe to be part of the discussion. So this is IANA XFER at elis.isoc.org. Just for your information. Thank you.
Thank you, Navid. And Stefano put up his hand. Stefano. And Vinny, yes. Stefano first.
So I'm coming from a very dense meeting of the Governmental Advisory Committee of ICANN. And but here I can report some interesting inputs for elaborating inside the ISOC, inside the Internet Society. So this announcement of NTIA has been welcomed almost by everyone with some different interpretations, let's say. And this was awaited since ICANN was conceived. And in the history, in 2009, the affirmation of commitments gave the impression that ICANN became accountable towards the general community, towards the world, instead of reporting to the United States. But the ICANN contract was still there. So, now we have to understand one thing, that there is a lot of excitement, especially from the press, about the immediate consequences of this announcement. The announcement is a process that started yesterday in a meeting yesterday afternoon, and then will end up possibly before September next year, and maybe even later, because if there is not an agreement, this will be delayed, the contract with IANA and US government for up to 2 more years. So, and then there is another point that the users, the end users, do not perceive this IANA thing like something that is affecting their use of the internet. And, but the political aspect of this also started to include ideas of some governments that are not the one, like we had China and Iran, that today, before coming here, made very strong declarations in order to improve, to give to the government a leadership, also in decision-making inside ICANN. So this is something that we, as GAC members, should try to moderate as much as possible. But of course, Fadi was there and was impressed, and he had to say very interesting to listen to that. But in a way, we are the community that created the ICANN, the ISO, the internet, that was involved in the development and in the stability, resiliency, and so on. So also in the next Net Mundial in